happens to be here on the 24th of Iyar, the Hilula of a really famous rabbi. His name was Baruch ben Haim, Zecher Tzadik Libracha. He was born in English year 1921 on the 18th of November, and he passed away on the 2nd of June, I believe, in the year 2005. We're talking about 20 years ago. He'd go on to become a great judge, Dayan. He'll become rabbi in various different places, especially in the South Africa country, respectively, over there, and he'll become the chief rabbi of the Syrian congregation Magen David and שערי ציון in Brooklyn, in New York, respectively, in the United States of America. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the very great rabbi's life. Now, he was born, I believe, in Jerusalem in the year 1921. He was one of 9 children of great Rabbi Haim Mizrachי, and his mother's name was Rabbanit Miriam Shalom. They were both from Iraq originally. Remember, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there was a very great Torah community in Iraq. Now, it's reported over the family would change its family name from Mizrahi to Ben Chaim, the son of Chaim, as we say in English, after Rav Chaim Mizrahi passed away in the year 1951 as a form of kavod, honor for their father. Okay, so when he was only about 11 years of age, Rav Baruch ben Chaim would actually enter the yeshivat Porat Yosef. Let's say that's a bastion of the Sephardic yeshivat in Jerusalem over there, and he would become, it was like a famous class over there with great Torah students. This, let's say the Chevra itself, the great class itself included Rabbi Yehuda Mu'alem, Rabbi ציון Levi. Rabbi ציון Levi, interesting enough, I believe, would become the chief rabbi of Panama for a staggering 57 years, one of the longest serving chief rabbis across the world. We'll have Chacham Ovadia Yosef later on go on to become the chief rabbi of Israel, one of the famous rabbis of the time, and Rabbi Ben Sion Abba Shaul, who would also become the Rosh Yeshiva at a later stage of Yeshiva Porat Yosef. So it was really, really a great class of Torah students over there. He was very close with Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, especially, I think he was his chavruta from a very young age. And they would spend many, many hours each day engaged in Torah study. Now, it's actually interesting. I think Rabbi Ben Chaim would receive smicha, rabbinic ordination, from his Rosh Yeshiva at the time, the famous Rabbi Ezra Atiyah. Rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. He was the Rosh Yeshiva for many, many years in Porat Yosef, and was considered one of the head Sephardi rabbis in the world of his time. And also, Rabbi Ben Sion Meir Chai Uziel would ordain him to the rabbinate. He was the chief rabbi of Israel from the time of the formation of the state in 1948 until he passed away in the year 1953. So he got really great rabbinic ordination. It's reported he would have been, he became a Dayan, a rabbinical judge, on part of the Sephardi Bet Din, along with Rabbi Atiyah and Rabbi Yehuda Shakor. These were 2 great rabbis we've mentioned about on various occasions before. I think in 1947 he would receive a rabbinical position in an Ashkenazi community in South Africa, which he would serve for a couple of years over there. Now, that's actually quite interesting because it wasn't that common where a Sephardi rabbi would take on a Ashkenazi rabbinate position, especially in countries like South Africa or in England or in America, respectively, especially during the 1900s. So that is that was quite a standout position. I think come with the year 1949, he would accept a position as assistant chief rabbi of the Syrian Jewish community in Brooklyn. I think this was upon request of, interesting enough, of the president of the Brooklyn's Magen David synagogue. His name was Isaac Shalom, who happens to be an American businessman, a philanthropist, and one of the leaders of the Sephardic Syrian Jewish community in New York. Very interesting enough. So he was a very famous person in this community, and they would ask him very interesting enough. So Rabbi Ben Chaim would arrive in New York, reported over in January 1950, and 2 months later he would get engaged to the daughter of Rabbi Yaakov Kassin, who happened, I believe, to be a chief rabbi of the Syrian Jewish community in Brooklyn. They would get married in May 1950. They had 4 sons, including Rabbi Eli Ben Chaim, who I think would be at one stage a rabbinic leader of the Lawrence Avenue Synagogue. Also, Rabbi Dr. Yaakov Ben Chaim, who would become the rabbi of the congregation שערי ציון, Rabbi Dr. Yehuda Ben Chaim, and David Ben Chaim, respectively. Now, it's interesting Hacham Baruch would serve as assistant rabbi to Harab Kassin in the congregation, שערי, ציון, this synagogue we've spoken about on various occasions before. Remember, we recorded over a few videos at the time of the Hilula of Rav Kassin previously, so I'll recommend everyone to watch over that. There'll be huge contributions made towards the synagogue establishment, for example, of the שערי ציון Torah Center, which educated the community in itself within regards to strengthening Torah and Jewish law. He would officiate thousands of weddings as well as various other smachot, such as bar mitzvahs, and also he would officiate funerals over there. He would teach in the Magen David Yeshiva, reported over for 3 decades, I think beginning from the early 1950s. He'd be very active in the summer also, especially several months. There was let's just say each summer, I think in Deal, and reports of in the Bradley Beach in New Jersey also. He would very much strengthen the Syrian Jewish community and really do a huge amount. He recorded various Tehillim, also with the, let's just say, the proper Ta'amim cantillation. I think they were released to the public, especially for people to listen to at that point in time, and very much is featured, I believe, in a brilliant website called the dailytehillim.com. The Syrian community in of itself, well, one of the first communities to really record many thousands of Torah classes on the internet, especially the community itself. I very much have benefited over the years from the learntorah.com, dailygemara.com, where the Daf Yomi recordings from Rabbi Eli Mansur and great Syrian rabbis in the community, which I very much recommend everyone to listen to iTorah.com. And Pelo Yoet Shirim and so many from this community has actually given over many tens of thousands of classes. Now, Rabbi Ben Haim was, he was a brilliant and very much beloved leader of the Brooklyn Syrian Jewish community. He had great love for every Jew, and really he was involved, especially a lot in helping with regards to Shalom Bayit also, and helping the community in every way he could. He gave brachot, whenever asked, blessings, respectively. I believe, come on, the year 2003, sadly he suffered from illness. He would be flown to Cleveland for an operation. I think at that point in time, the name Raphael was added to his Hebrew name. That his full Hebrew name at that stage was Rab Baruch Raphael ben Miriam, and obviously to hope for recovery. He would make a recovery from the operation, but I think, especially from April 2005. More illness sadly came upon, and he passed on June the 2nd in the year 2005. Now, I think his funeral was held at 3 different places of Brooklyn, a Syrian Jewish community leading institutions, including congregation שערי ציון, Magen David Yeshiva, and Magen David Synagogue over there. I think his body would be flown to Eretz Israel, to the land of Israel, and he was eulogized at the Porat Yosef Yeshiva, included from great rabbanim, included by Rabbi Eliyahu Bakshi Daron, who will be a chief rabbi of Israel at one stage, Rabbi Shlomo Amar, also Rabbi Chacham Ovad Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Moalem. Remember, Rabbi Yehuda Moalem, we've mentioned about at the start of the class, was part of the great Torah class of his in the Yeshivat Porat Yosef, and Rabbi Moshe Tzadka, I think is currently the chief rabbi, currently the Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Porat Yosef. Presently, he is actually the son of the former Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka. He was buried in Har HaMenuchot in Jerusalem. He was very much a great rabbi of his time. We've spoken about him on various occasions before, and much more can be related about him. I recommend everyone to learn with regards to the great famous Syrian community. It was son-in-law of Rabbi Yaakov Katzin, and was really part of a great time period. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. We've covered nearly 950 biography highlights videos within regards to great North African Spanish rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the great Chachamim, please let me know. I'd love to hear more. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. We're nearing 7,000 subscribers. If you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these informative biography videos, please share the videos to other people. So I'm recording this just for Shabbat Parshiot or Bahar Mechukotai here from the city of Bet Shemesh. And please don't forget to light candles in the great rabbi's memory. Chaf Dalet Iyar, 24th of Iyar, one of the great rabbis of, especially from the United States over the last century. So wishing you all well, take care, and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and be well.